You cannot be friends with the left. This is Ron. It is Monday, June the 25th. Welcome to Storytime. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is Ron, your host, the only true conservative in the United States of America, talking to all the butchers, bakers, and candlestick makers out there. And that's right, you cannot be friends with the left. Ayn Rand recognized that one cannot be friends with somebody that is diametrically opposed to everything you stand for. That would technically, I guess, be the definition of an enemy. And you can't be friends and enemies at the same time. Violates the rule of the laws of identity. What is A. What is A cannot be non-A. And the law of the excluded middle, which is everything is either A or non-A. Anyways, you'll see this a lot with people on that call themselves conservatives or Republicans, particularly Sean Hannity, where he will be talking about a particular lefty and describing this person as a friend. And this person comes over and has barbecues and eats and meets the family, blah blah blah, and they're friends. Bull. Also where you see this a lot of times is that on C-SPAN, if you ever watch a particularly heated debate during the passage of a particular bill, and you'll get a lot of nasty stuff going on, sometimes back and forth, but most of the time it's coming from the left, from the Democrats that are going to be nasty about it. And as soon as the vote starts to take place and the debate's over, then the Democrats all rush over to the other side of the aisle to slap the Republicans on the back, shake their hand, big smiles, and whatnot. So, and the importance of all of this, of the idea that you cannot be friends and shouldn't even try to be friends with people on the left, is what they're looking for on the left is a couple of things. First of all, they want to proselytize. They want the opportunity to influence people on the right. They're looking to gain converts or to pull a John McCain, where what they basically did is they turned the guy. They need his vote and they need his efforts in other directions. He tried to undermine Donald Trump with this going and getting this famous memo from England, having one of his staff members go and pick it up and then leaking it to the press. So the left needs people like John McCain, needs people on the right, and will go ahead and pretend to be friends in order to be able to use that friendship as a weapon. Since the left loves, it seems, to weaponize everything. And I certainly hope that that habit comes back to bite them in the ass big time. So, but anyways, you can't be friends with the folks on the left. They're diametrically opposed to everything you stand for. So you don't try. Again, because what they're looking for is not only are they looking to proselytize, but they're also looking for credibility. They don't have any credibility on their own because look at what they ultimately stand for. They're anti-reality, anti-knowledge, anti-morality, anti-beauty. Okay, they're anti all that stuff. So how do you have any credibility? How can you walk around proclaiming that reality doesn't exist and everything that springs from it doesn't exist either? That there's no beauty, there's no intelligence, there's no nothing. How do you have any credibility doing that? You don't. So the way you get any credibility is by who you hang around with, who you associate with. You can say, well, yes, but I'm worth listening to, I'm worth paying attention to because I'm friends with Sean Hannity, or I'm friends with Rush Limbaugh, or Glenn Beck, or whoever whoever it is that they're trying to buddy up to. And so that's why it's imperative to make sure that any relationships you're having with the left is kept appropriate. It's possible to be friendly to people, and we have a tendency in this country now to confuse friendship with friendliness or sociability. The left loves sociability. They don't care whether you're friends or not, just as long as you're social. That means open and engaging and basically intellectually pliable, malleable, easily molded, and easily intimidated and bullied, that kind of thing. So don't think that you're friends with any of these folks because they're not going to treat you like a friend. They're going to use your friendship as a weapon. The other good thing, or good for them, that they like to do with their friendships with the right is they get to probe for information and use that information, that personal information that you give them, as a weapon. There's a lady that I deal with who owns a business that I frequent, who's in the habit of doing that on a regular basis, and did it with I no longer discuss with her the my car and my the problems and issues that I'm having with my car. I'm having to spend quite a bit of money. It's older. I got it when I had 95,000 miles, and thanks to Uber and Lyft and some and Grubhub and whatnot, I've got now 177,000 miles in probably about 2 years on it. So I've almost doubled the mileage in about 2 years. So it needs tires every year. It needs brakes on a regular basis. I've had to put probably $6,000 worth of into the car. So, and I made the mistake of discussing all these bills and whatnot with this acquaintance of mine, this left wing acquaintance of mine, who promptly then went ahead and humiliated me at Christmas time at a get together that she was having. Humiliated me about it, suggesting to everybody within earshot that I was having problems because I simply don't know how to buy a car. So I learned my lesson from that, and I no longer discuss with her any um, anything that has to do with the car, any types of, um, you know, especially bills and stuff like that, repairs. So any repairs or maintenance, I don't even bother to discuss. Learn because I got stung. So I had the other day, I was having a discussion with her, and she says, "Can I ask you a question?" Now, when somebody asks you that, "Can I ask you a question?" It means they're about to ask you something personal. That's what they really mean is, "Can I ask you a personal question?" And my response was, "I'll give you an answer to that personal question." Because really, when they're asking you, "Can I ask?" is, will you answer it? And also it's kind of because if you're asking personal questions, a lot of times they can be rude and intrusive. And so I guess they figure if they ask permission first, then somehow it's not as rude and intrusive to ask the personal question. So, anyways, she asked that, and I said, "Look, I'll be willing to answer the question as long as you promise not to use it as a weapon." Now, of course, she came back and denied that. Hey, I've never done that. I've never ever used any information that you have as a weapon. And I went ahead and quickly reminded her of the episode last Christmas. And then she ended up saying, "Never mind." Now, which also brings up an interesting tactical point. One of the things that the left hates is hearing somebody say no. Ayn Rand wrote a book called Anthem, in which she said that the anthem, that of the individual, is the word "I." That's wrong. The anthem of the individual is the word "no." Okay, that's what the left doesn't want to hear. The left wants everybody to say yes. They pose as leaders and change agents. Don't you want this? Don't you want that? Wouldn't you like to see a perfect world? Wouldn't you like to live in paradise? Wouldn't you like to live forever? Wouldn't you like to have a life where you have to worry about getting hurt or injured or fired? See, they don't want to hear no. They want to hear yes from the individual. But it is the individual's prerogative as an individual to say no. Now, that puts you sometimes in an awkward position because again, if you say no, very often, then you're going to be, if you're lucky, you're going to get some dirty looks. Very often, there's demands for an explanation, which the other person's not entitled to. I don't have to explain. I'm a grown man. I don't have to explain squat to anybody. And I'm also an independent contractor. I don't go to work. I don't work for anyone else. I work for me. So I have to explain squat to anybody. Well, IRS perhaps. But anyways, so but in this particular case where you have just a casual acquaintance or something that wants to get some information from you, or in this particular case, know why you're saying no. Anyways, it can put you in an awkward position psychologically because it's pressure. Oh, gee, I really don't want to. Depending where you are, if you're at Vaughn's, if you're at the grocery store, and this person is, hey, you know, will you do me a favor? No, I'm sorry, I can't do that. Oh, gee, why not? I don't want to get into it with this person right here in front of God and everybody. So there's a couple of ways to deal with this in which you can say no and take a lot of pressure off of yourself, and while doing that, put pressure on the person that's asking you for the favor, which is where it should be anyways, right? If you're going to ask somebody for a favor, no, I can't. Oh, well, let me explain to you what it is I need done and why, please. And that's the way it should go instead of how come. It's none of your damn business. But anyways, two ways you can do it. One is by saying no, then negotiate, or you could say yes with conditions. And that's what I did dealing with this lady because we were on her property. I was in her store when she starts asking me, she can ask me a question. And this is what the left does all the time. It's one of their favorite tactics. They put themselves in a position of, what they think of as power, their childish little notion of power. And in this particular case, she's not going to come to me when I'm out in the street or I'm at Starbucks or otherwise out and about and ask me, gee, can I ask you a personal question? She waits until we're on her turf and then asks me, knowing she's putting me on the spot here and putting me under psychological pressure. But again, best way to deal with it is simply say, sure, either say yes, which I did, but under the condition that you promise not to use it as a weapon. Okay, so we put the condition on it. And what's interesting, if you want to be really clever about it, you think ahead a little bit and you can put a condition on it that you know they're not going to want to meet. Okay, if you really want to say no, you don't have any, you don't even really want to negotiate about it. All you have to do is just say yes, but another one, a favorite is sure, I'll answer your question, but no follow-ups, no follow-up questions. Okay, so or you could say no, then negotiate. No, I won't do that. I won't answer that question, but I tell you what I will do. Say it's the first one is better if you're being asked to do something. Can you help me move? Okay, I'm going to be moving out of my apartment. I'm moving across town. You've got a pickup truck. Can you help me move? No, but I tell you what I can do is I can go ahead and I will go ahead and look up and find a decent moving company. Or I'll go ahead and pitch in $10 towards moving expenses or $5, whatever the amount may be. And this is an excellent tactic because it's individualistic and it's capitalistic. And again, as I've said, it's not enough to vote conservative. You have to live it. And if you can't live it, then you really need to look inside yourself and ask yourself, am I really a conservative? Am I really devoted to, do these values really mean anything to me? Are they really valuable to me? Being an individual and the dignity and worth of the individual and everything that springs from it. And if it doesn't, fine, then go left. Then you're a collectivist, go hang out with the lefties and have a great time. But if you say, yes, those are my values, then you have to start living it. And one of the ways to do that is to engage in a business practice of negotiating with people. It doesn't always have to be about money. Yes, I'll do it, or no, I won't do it unless you pay me. You can negotiate something else, something that's of obvious interest to both of you. Because again, this is an excellent way of again pointing the whole conversation in a individualistic, capitalistic, conservative direction. because the left gets away with so much crap culturally. They don't get away with nearly as much politically, which surprises the hell out of me. I'm still shocked that Republicans are able to get elected to any office anywhere because they're so incompetent when it comes to recognizing the importance of cultural changes and shifts. They're just flat out incompetent. But it also shows that you wonder, okay, we have the House of Representatives is Republican, the Senate is Republican, and we have a Republican, albeit a populist, in the White House. Why aren't we getting more done? Why is there so much crap bottlenecked in the Senate? All kinds of bills bottlenecked in the Senate. Why is it that the House struggles to pass an immigration reform bill? They come up with a couple of ideas last week, and they struggle with it because the members have take polls and surveys within their districts, and what they find is that a good percentage of those people are voting, may have voted for this individual to be in office, may claim to be conservative and vote conservative and donate to conservative causes, but when it comes to legislation, then all of a sudden they're not so conservative anymore. Okay, and it's like I said, you can't be you can't have it both ways. You cannot vote conservative and then act like a lefty. You have to make up your mind. You're either one or you're the other. So again, to kind of sum up, it's you can't be friends with the left, because it is diametrically opposed to everything you stand for, and pretending you're friends with the left is a dangerous policy. So when I come back, it's going to be a little bit from the Rush Limbaugh app, some comments and critiques of Rush Limbaugh's show from Friday. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so I'm going to be reading a little blurb or segment from Rush Limbaugh's show from Friday from his app, his Rush Limbaugh app. And it's about Kevin McHale. The headline is Insane Stalinists Go After Kevin McHale. Rush, how many of you know the name Kevin McHale off the top of your head? Ah, Brian, who is he? What team? What team did he play for? That's right, for the Boston Celtics. Kevin McHale, he's a veteran of the NBA many, 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 many moons ago. Well, he went to the Trump rally last night in Duluth. Does that surprise you? No big deal. Kevin McHale. He's a former player, a good player. He was a star player in the NBA and a coach. He went to the Trump rally in Duluth, and now a fringe left-wing lunatic of sports media tweeted the following. Quote, Kevin McHale is extremely stupid for attending a public Trump event. That, as much as his politics, is why he should never work in the NBA again, unquote. Now, it says the tweet here's from Nathaniel Friedman, but one of the many reasons I don't tweet is because I don't know who's sending a tweet and who's responding to one to reply. I can't figure Twitter out, and I am a tech wizard. But when I took a look at a tweet, I don't know who sent it and who's received it. I can't. My brother tried to explain it to me, but I'm too smart. I'm too logical. If you have a plethora of logic like I do, you can't figure it out because it doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. I'm looking here. It looks to me like somebody named Nathaniel Friedman sent the tweet, but then there's a name after that called @Freedarko. So I don't know if that's his handle. No idea. So I'm not going to quote the guy. Kevin McHale is extremely stupid for attending a public Trump event. That, as much as his politics, is why he should never work in the NBA again, unquote. Now, there are a number of sports media and supporters demanding that Kevin McHale be fired. He currently is a broadcaster of NBA games on TNT. They're now demanding that he be fired from TNT and banned altogether from the NBA just because he went to the Trump rally. Now, that is insanity, stupidity. Some people might say, Rush, this is not how. This is dangerous. Well, yeah, but it's stupid. It's insane. And it's an open window on who and what we are up against. These people are indeed Stalinists. Power to these people means being able to boss other people around, and that's why it's dangerous. Leftists like big power and big government because they want to use it to punish. That's what they think power is for, and this is just another illustration or indication of that. Okay, so first thing that occurs to me here is that, again, Rush Limbaugh really doesn't know these people very well at all. One of the rules on the left, and it really one of the rules of anybody that is wielding or attempting to wield power, is that you use cat's paws. Don't play the role of the executioner. Okay, that's the rule. Do not play the role of the executioner because you cannot show up to a cocktail party with blood on your hands. Just that simple. It's gauche. Okay, the executioner has a valid job, has and had a valid job to do, legitimate, but nobody wants to invite him over for dinner. Okay, nobody's going to invite him to a cocktail party. Nobody wants to hang with the hangman. Okay, it's like inviting death over for dinner. You're putting death on the guest list. No, it's just not going to happen. And the left knows this, and they're sociable. That's the whole point of being a socialist, is to be sociable. And you can't socialize if you're going to show up and greet your friends with blood on your hands. So no, they don't want to get rid of Kevin McHale. They don't want to get rid of Rush Limbaugh. They don't want to get rid of anybody. What they want is for people to get rid of themselves. And that's an important distinction. They want to put enough pressure on a person to get them to do or say something stupid. Then put more pressure on them, and then they will say or do something stupider and even stupider until they have painted themselves into a corner they can't get out of. Okay, and then once they've done that, then of course the only way out they think is an honorable way out is resignation. They resign, they've been gotten rid of, and the people on the left can continue to go to their cocktail parties. And they'll go to the cocktail parties and say, "Oh, did you hear about Bill O'Reilly? What a shame. What a shame." But, if the guy had anything going for him, if he had any smarts, if he was really together, if he was progressive, if he was modern, if he was whatever, it wouldn't have happened to him. Oh, well, good luck to him. And then they can smile at each other because they know what really happened. So, and Bill O'Reilly, I use Bill O'Reilly as the example because it's a classic. It's exactly what happened to Bill O'Reilly. They put pressure on him, put more pressure on him, more pressure on him. This woman, that woman, the other woman, that are all coming out and saying Bill O'Reilly, sucks. And Bill O'Reilly finally said, "Well, me and Fox got together and we decided, for the good of humanity, I'm going to go ahead and, give up my show and go do something else." Thank you, Bill O'Reilly, you moron. Okay, this is again a classic example of the conservatives, of the right, aiding and abetting the left. Okay, it's the same thing goes with because it becomes tantamount to a confession. Okay, Bill O'Reilly may as well have just come out and said, "Yeah, they're right. I went ahead and slapped some fannies. I played slap and tickle. I was inappropriate. I'm walking around in a bathrobe with my penis sticking out." May as well. Because when he resigns, when he gives up his show, and it's a show that's highly rated, it'd be one thing if he gives up a show that's near the bottom of the ratings, but he was at the top. Boy, did he do the left a huge favor. He'd been a thorn in their side for 20 years, and then he resigns just like that. Poof! Overnight, he's gone. And the left, again, it's like magic. I guess they can do the old Bullwinkle routine. Nothing up my sleeve. Nothing up my sleeve. They get to go to their cocktail parties, no blood on their hands, and again, smile until their hearts are breaking, saying, "Oh, poor Bill O'Reilly. But what happened was they put him under so much pressure that he couldn't deal with it anymore. Boom, he leaves. Made the biggest mistake of his career, of his life. So now even if he comes back, he's got no credibility. He made basically what I call the Richard Nixon mistake. Same thing happened with Richard Nixon. It wasn't there was no smoking gun here. There was no evidence that he actually committed any type of a crime. It was just pressure, political and psychological pressure on him and on people in Congress. Okay. Nixon could have and should have said to him, at least to himself, maybe to his aides, maybe a few people in Congress, hey, screw it. You want me gone? You better um, go ahead and, I was going to say court martial, but that's not it. Impeach me. That's it. You better impeach me. You want me gone? Impeach me. I dare you. And that's a lot. Remember, one of the big techniques or tactics of the left is bluffing. They're bluffing all the time. Call their bluff. Call their bluff. Okay, same thing with Kevin McHale. Here's you actually want to know how to deal with the left again. The best example is from the left. There was a lady politician in the Northeast. She was a mayor, I believe, and she got wind of the fact that ICE was going to be in the neighborhood looking for illegal aliens to deport, and she put out the alert, sounded the alarm. Hey, all you illegal aliens out there, guess what? ICE is in town. You better run away and hide. And it created a bit of a stink. Hey, she's aiding and abetting fugitives. Maybe she should be this or that or the other thing. And social media kind of went wild. Her response was to go on Facebook. She had taken a selfie of her with her hand outstretched and her middle finger. That's right, flipping off with a big smile on her face. No caption, no nothing. Just the picture of her at her desk flipping off Facebook, flipping off social media. Okay? And her attitude was, I dare you. I dare you. And this, she assumed that everybody's bluffing. And I don't know what the result of this was. I don't know. I don't even know if she's still in office. To the best of my knowledge, she is. But it's just, that's what the way you've got to treat the left. They're bluffing. They're bluffing. Don't hesitate to call their bluff. So if they're going to take you down, make them do it. Make them, don't give them an easy way out. And they'll always try to tell you, you ought to resign, you ought to quit, you ought to do this. It'd be a shame to see you lose your business. It'd be a shame to see you lose your reputation. So you ought to quit, you ought to give up, you ought to confess. But all they really want you to do is do their dirty work for them. It's delicious irony. Okay? You end up again, no blood on their hands, you're out of the way, ta-da, like magic. So, when I come back, I'm going to go ahead and read at least one, maybe a couple of jokes from the New York City Cab Driver's Joke Book. Okay, so thank you very much, and I'm back, and the New York City Cab Driver's Joke Book is written by Jim Peach. Let's see. Okay, there you go. What do you call a Japanese Jew? An Orienta. Cab driver sees a woman hailing him at 39th Street and 11th Avenue. He pulls over and is surprised when she gets in and sits down beside him on the front seat. She tells him her address and they drive off. When they arrive at her destination, the cab driver pulls over and shuts off the meter. Okay, he says, that will be $4.60, please. The woman looks over and says to him, to tell you the truth, I don't have any money. But, she says, pulling up her skirt to her waist, maybe this will take care of it. The cabbie looks down and says, gee, lady, don't you have anything smaller? What do you call four Mexicans drowning? Cuatro, cinco. In any case, that will end this particular episode of Story Time. And until next time, thank you very much for joining me. Have a great day.